Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm here with author Linda Maria Frank, and we're talking about Annie Tillery mysteries. And even better, what went through her head when she was writing them. Because talking to an author is always so cool and finding out exactly what is going on. So, welcome, and tell me a little bit about how you picked the setting for this book. How do you treat settings in general? Is it your favorite place that you've ever been and you just kind of recreate it, or are you thinking story first and then setting? Bring me a little bit into that.
Well, first of all, Stephanie, I really enjoyed these chats with you.
Oh, I do too.
They're really fun, great fun.
And on behalf of all of your readers, I feel like I get to actually ask the question that everybody else is thinking. They're reading, they're saying, I wonder what she's thinking about this. And I get a front row seat. I get to actually ask. So that's so cool.
Okay, so you asked me about setting, and
Yes.
I chose a setting. Okay, setting to me is one of the big inspirations for a book.
Yeah.
I will be someplace and I find the setting so compelling that I said, boy, I could really match up a story to this. So my first setting, of course, is I live on Long Island. I've been to Fire Island many, many, many times. I have a friend who lives there. I love Fire Island. It's such a different and special place.
And I have to tell you something. I live on Long Island and I have never once been to Fire Island. And because of your books, I'm going to go.
Stephanie, we are going to go to Fire Island. You're going to drive to my house. We're going to drive to Bayshore, get on the ferry, and we're going to have dinner on Fire Island. You know, it should be.
I can't wait.
And you're going to meet another author who lives there, who is a friend of mine.
It's a date.
Okay.
It's a date. And then I understand why you want to set your books there.
You will fall in love with Fire Island. It's just different. There are no cars.
Wow.
No cars.
A lot of walking.
And, I have to tell you just quickly before we get into setting, maybe this will really talk about setting. They have a school on Fire Island. It's grades, I guess, kindergarten through 6. Once the kids reach middle school, they go to Bayshore. They get on the ferry and they go to Bayshore. It's the Woodhall Elementary School. And they have an adult ed program. So my friend runs the adult ed program. She asked if I wanted to do my lectures there. So I did. And the first lecture I did was with another author whose name is Karen Bonet. And we did it about how to self-publish. The night we went there was a rainy, just a miserable night. It was in the wintertime. And we were picked up by a small school bus at the Captree parking lot, went over the bridge, and then you have to go along either little cement roads or boardwalks or across the sand. It has to be like a 4-wheel drive vehicle. And spooky beyond spooky. Coming home, we went along the shore. We didn't take the little roads. We went along the shore. We went past the lighthouse, and the light is going around, and the rain is coming down, and the trees are waving. And I thought, oh, this is just beyond anything. Setting, it was marvelous. So I chose a setting because they're going on vacation. This is a fabulous place to go on vacation. You go to Fire Island and you forget the world. And that's what you should do on vacation. And it's also visually very beautiful if you like beach.
And a lot of beach.
Yeah. And then I thought, I also know about the history of my books have history, mystery, and forensic science. I love history. I don't know. I went into science because I had to know how everything worked. But my first love was history. So I know the history of Fire Island, which includes bootleggers and pirates and shipwrecks and hurricanes and people who live off the sea. So knowing all of that, and also I had the experience of being a volunteer at the Fire Island Lighthouse. And I used to do the lecture of how the United States Life-Saving Service rescued people who were shipwrecked off Long Island or beached on Long Island during a storm. I did that lecture, and there's this enormous mural type picture in the lighthouse of I guess, volunteers handing out coffee to people that were bringing off this ship. And I thought, and that inspired me to create the ghost. Okay. So, and I thought to myself, oh, we have shipwrecks. I can create a ghost because we have a person who got off the ship and died, and there it was. So, and the other important thing for me is that setting should be a character.
Mm,
Your setting should be so well described and so enticing that it should be a character.
I get that.
So, and I tried to do that with Fire Island. And the way that I tried to do that was to, in so many scenes, just to describe the scene so that you felt like you were there.
Mhm.
During the day when it's sunny out and you're on the beach, you can look all the way down the beach. It's almost like looking to Europe. It's so far. But there is always, because of the waves crashing on the shore, there is always like a, think of a setting sun, like a sort of a half circle of mist that even on a beautiful clear day, there's this mist that sits at the surf line, and it's so beautiful. So I did that. And then of course, when they see the ghosts, I described that scene. And, again, every author has to use their five senses. If you use your five senses and you think about how does it smell, how does it sound, how does it look, how does it taste, and how does it feel? And pretty much you're going to make that setting a character by doing that.
Fabulous. Now, what about research? You were saying you've always loved history and, of course, mystery. Did you have to research a lot for this book, and how do you handle that? What are some?
Yeah, every book that I have written has had a lot of research in it. Fire Island research, of course, I did research into the shipwrecks, the United States Life Saving Service. I also did research into ghost hunting, because one of the characters who we get to eventually, her name is Alice Delia. She is the local historian, but she's also a ghost hunter. So I had to pretty much research that and how that's done, and whether it's credible or not. And also the connection between Fire Island and Bayshore, because a lot of the Fire Island history is in Bayshore.
Okay.
So although I'm so familiar with that area, it wasn't a matter of not knowing anything. It was a matter of really fleshing out the details. But then, when I wrote the second book, Girl with Pencil Drawing, the research there had to go into art crime. International art crime is the fourth largest or most expensive transnational crime that there is in the world.
Wow.
And so I had to research that, and I also had to research how art pieces are authenticated. And then I had to research a little bit about kind of the story of the Monuments Men. What happened to all of that art that the Nazis confiscated from the Jews during the war? Because that's part of the plot. So, and that was great fun. The third book takes place in Turkey. So I went to Turkey. That was great. Oh, what a wonderful trip that was. But that book was inspired by an article that I read in an archaeological journal about a very, very old archaeological site. So again, just my natural scientific curiosity brings me to ideas. And so I think if you're an author, you have to read a lot. And I think it's really great if you have an area of expertise that you can, I never had to really research the forensic side of this because I taught it for years. So I researched it when I, first learned about it years ago, but that just fit in nicely to the plot in the setting. What I wanted to do in the books was I wanted to give my readers something more solid than somebody sticking their finger in the teacup and saying, "Oh, cyanide." I wanted to give them something a little bit more. I mean, everyone loves Agatha Christie, but Agatha Christie, although she had a good science background, she worked in the pharmacy in a hospital during World War I. So she had a science background, but she didn't use it so much in the books. It was more using her intuition and her observation of humans and knowledge of plants and stuff like that. Yes, but I wanted to, because the kids today, they watch shows like CSI. They take courses in introductory courses in forensic science in school. They have a scientific background that we don't have,
Right.
that people certainly of my generation do not have. So those are the things I really wanted to put in the book. And yes, they took a lot of research. And I get this thing from authors. When I do my show, authors will say, what do you do about writer's block? That's a big question. And I say research. Whatever your idea for your book is, even if you're writing a little romance in a small town somewhere, find a small town that you can research that has a little bit of background, and maybe even go and visit a small town and talk to the historian. Every town on Long Island has a historical society. And go talk to them, and there's going to be a story there that grabs your attention, and that story is going to give you the outline for a plot. It'll give you something to write about. Even if you just start describing things, you'll be writing.
I love that. And I love what you were saying about choosing setting. In the case of Fire Island, you were familiar with the place, you knew it, it was already tugging at your heartstrings. You wanted so much to have a book set there. It was calling to you that, the pieces fell into place. But from what I'm hearing, in other cases, maybe even in the one that takes place in Turkey, you wanted to set the book there, and thus you went there, and authors can do either. Maybe you're totally inspired by something that you've already seen. Maybe it's your own hometown, or like what you were describing, maybe it's something that you want to see. So go there. I mean, I love when you could just go to Turkey, but yes, you can certainly go to a small town and whatever it is. So writers might come to it from either of those angles, something they already know and love and embrace, or something that they're interested in. And that's what they want to write about. And I think the same thing goes for readers. Some of us read about the familiar. I want to read about places I've been or grew up in, because then when I read about the street signs or about a place they went to the movies, I feel like I know that place and I love it. But in other cases, I want to read about places that I've never been. And then hopefully I'll get a chance to go there. So it's either of those two things. There's no wrong answer here. But if you are writing about someplace you've never been, you're probably going to have to do a lot more research than if you're writing about someplace that you practically grew up.
Yeah, that was hard work, Turkey, because I had to, if I was going to have characters who were Turkish, I had to have Turkish names. And the Turkish language is very different from anything that I had, ever come in contact with. So I had to, while I was on tour, I would be listing people's names. So I would have authentic names. The street signs are in a different language. And so I would take down what a stop sign has the word DUR on it, which means stop in Turkish. And so it was lots of these little tiny things that you put into your descriptions. And one thing that one of the editors, I think this is a funny story for an author anyway, one of the editors complained about something I put in the book. The kids were on the road between Istanbul and the archaeological dig, and they saw a sign for a rest stop, and they decided to pull over. And so the criticism by the editor was, "Oh, so Annie reads Turkish?" And I thought to myself, when was the last time you were out of the house, honey? Because all of the signs are pictures. They're all pictures now, especially international, they're all pictures.
Absolutely. Whether it's the fork and the knife or the restroom. Yeah.
There's a little man and a little lady or a bed or
a little bed, right? You can get by in other countries, thank goodness. Now if somebody get away with the pictures, that's a whole nother thing. But I love also what you said earlier about setting being another character.
Mhm.
That the setting is not just, as I said once, you don't just dump a whole character description and a whole description about where it is. No, 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 no. It's something that gets revealed like an onion that we're peeling. And little by little, we're learning more about the setting, but the setting really is such an integral part that it's like another character playing off of this.
Sure.
What a great image. Thank you for telling us that. I think that's great. And the other thing that you said that I just so fascinated by, because you're right, people think about writer's block and doing research, or I liked your idea even better, Linda, go someplace. Go someplace. You'll definitely get over your writer's block if you do a little trip someplace. So let me ask you one more question. If you were writing a book and you got to pick any place in the world that you wanted to go to do your research, where would you want to go?
Iceland.
Iceland. Okay. So Annie Tillery goes to Iceland is going to be in the future at some point. And this way, Linda gets to do her research in Iceland. I like that. I like that.
A land of fire and ice.
I think that that's fantastic. My daughter went to Iceland and it looked amazing in the pictures. So I can't wait to read about Annie Tillery in Iceland.
Me too.
So now we have characters, we have setting, we have research. We've got some really good bones here to be working off of. Thank you so much. And let's keep writing away.
See you in chat.